Today we look at a trip to the national championship game for the UNI football team. 15 years ago, the UNI Panthers needed to win the last 4 games of the season to make the playoffs. They kept rolling all the way to the title game, and we relive all the magic. We also look at the game against number 1 seeded New Hampshire and the overtime win in the semifinals. We spotlight 2 playmakers, one on defense and one from special teams. It's the 2005 UNI football team, today on Panther Sports Talk.